All right, today we are going to build this small geometric Christmas tree. Basically, I'm flat out stealing this from Cedar River Woodworking, so thanks, Andy. I wanted to do this because they're really cool, and I just wanted to do one, and I wanted to do something I've never done before, which is cut the top like this, which I'll show you how to do. I wanted to show you a little bit of a different way of doing it, so I cut all of these with the table saw. I did shorten the pieces with the miter saw, but you absolutely don't need a miter saw to do this. In this, we got to work our way down to a really tricky piece to cut. This is the top piece under there. So I'm going to show you how to do that in the video, but come back after the build and I'm going to explain a couple other ways of doing it. I just wanted to try something different. So that's what you're going to see. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so here we have our 1x10x4. This is a pine shelf board that they sell at the Home Depot. They're pretty cheap. They're about $5 or $6. I grab them whenever I can. So we're going to cut this down into the pieces we need. And the cutting is the most important part of this build because we have to get down to a piece like that without cutting our fingers off. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this into pieces and then we'll run them through the table saw. So let's do that real quick. All right, so we're going to need 2 of everything. So we're going to start out with 8-inch boards. So we're 9 1/4, right? That's what they come as. So I'm going to measure over 8 and I'm going to go over another 1/8 of an inch just to give us something to play with. And I'm going to do this twice. Okay, now we're going to need to have 2 at 7 because we're just going to go down 1 inch at a time here. So same thing, I'm going to go 7 and an 8. Okay, there's our 2 at 7, and now we're going to go down to 6 and an 8. Okay, so we got about 4 inches there, so we're going to be able to use this for some of them. Some of the cutoffs here are going to be used for other ones. I'm not sure exactly what the breakdown is going to be because I haven't built one of these before. So I do know that I'm going to need to dig into a little bit of another board though. So I'm going to do the 5s. So I'm going to do 5 and an 8. Okay, let's start with that. All right, before we start our cuts, we're going to tilt our blade to 30 degrees. Okay, so now we have to measure over. We want the long end to be 8 inches exactly, or as close as we can. It doesn't matter as long as they're the same. I'm going to use the same thickness board here, 3/4 of an inch. We're going to put that there. I'm going to measure from the fence to where the teeth are on the blade at that height and put it as close to 8 inches as I can. And that's pretty good right there. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with 7 inches and 6 inches and 5 inches. And then we'll come back to you guys when I get to the more dangerous sizes. Okay, so now we are down to the 2-inch, and I don't want to get my fingers in there. And this isn't going to fit in there very well. So what are we going to do about this? Okay, so take that. Take other random stick. Okay, we're going to take some CA glue. All right, we're going to take some activator. Right on that one. And we're going to stick this. Something like that. Okay. Grab down there nice and good now. Okay, now we're going to take it off. Then we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it like that now. Make sure your tape grabs pretty well. To be perfectly honest, it's a little cold in here and it's not super sticky, so I'm going really slow to be careful. Done, and no fingers. We're at risk at any time. Okay, so we got the pieces laid out here. I didn't go into the specifics about how the board was laid out, but when you cut the 8-inch ones, obviously that's going to take up most of the board, but then there's the 7s and the 2s, the 6s and the 3s, the 5s and the 4s, you get it. Off camera, I cut these pieces. They're just 2 inches, 5 inches, and these ones are 3.5. That way it makes a nice 5x5 base. Okay, so that's where we're going to start putting it together. Our brad nailer, we're going to start out with 1.5-inch nails. And this is the glue we're using. Okay, so I'm going to figure out where I have to put this to center it. So it's about 1.5 based on the dimensions, of course. So I'm just going to use this as a guide. Before I get sidetracked here totally, we don't need this one. So you're gonna have 2 of everything except this one is extra, so we didn't need to make this one. I just put it there so we can see the layout. Okay, so now we're gonna eyeball this, making sure that all 4 of these spaces are as close to the same as we can get them. Okay, now I'm just gonna make sure that I continue with the wood grains in the same direction. So obviously, as they're turning, they're gonna be different, but this one down here is facing that way, so I'm gonna put this one this way. Okay, so you have to look straight down and try to get the same amount of spacing all the way around. It's the best way that I can seem to do it because there's not really any way you can, as soon as you push it over, it's over too far that side. So you got to kind of eyeball it. Okay, now you could just do something like that, hot glue that on there, which I may or may not do, I don't know yet. But we're going to make a topper for this. And in order to make the topper, we're going to have to cut some 70-degree angles. So we're going to have to make a jig for that. All right, so just like that, we have our jig. So we'll be releasing the video in a couple days, and then after it's released, we'll link it if this is after the fact for you guys. Okay, so anyway, now we're going to cut our 70-degree tree topper piece out of a 2x2. We're going to keep it long so it's safe. Okay, so now off to the miter saw we go. So this is how the pieces go. We're not going to use this one, but I wanted to build them both at the same time. So we're going to be feeding this piece in here like this. So yeah, I'm marking it halfway, so at 3/4 I put a mark there, just so I can get the center of the board. Then I'm going to line it up in here. I'm not cutting anything right now. I'm just going to line the blade up like that. Then I'm going to clamp the fence in place. Now you got 2 choices here. If you're worried about getting pulled into the blade, then you can clamp this piece on here. I get it plenty long enough to keep my hands out, and I'm experienced with using a miter saw, so I'm not worried about it. So the settings for this are, this is a 45. So I move the saw over to 25 degrees to give us our 70 degrees, okay? And I'm going to make sure the saw blade is up to full speed, and I'm going to go slow to avoid it having the tendency to want to pull the piece into it, because we don't have a piece back there to stop it. Actually, if you wanted to do that, you could do that. So let's just do that for the sake of demonstration. Okay, so that solves that problem. Except that now I'm a little bit off. All right, so I'm off a little bit. I'm just gonna clean this up. Anyway, good enough. Now you're ready for a vampire. Okay, so run out of camera battery, I'm told. So I'm just gonna take this and I'm just gonna lop it off now because it's safe to do so. That is how you safely get a point. Okay, and we're just gonna glue it on there, let it dry, and then I'll paint it. Probably stick some lights on it. Anyway, we'll be back. Okay, so as you can tell, unlike most woodworkers on YouTube, I actually do finish my projects because you can imagine what it looks like when it's unfinished. It's harder to imagine it the other way around. So with this one, I just stained the bottom with the brown, put the green stain on the tree, and I wired up these. It's about 9.5 feet of light. This is why we left the bottom hollow, right? So I just put glue gun there, then I just wrapped it around, and then I glue gunned it there. That's all the glue that's on there. As you can see, the batteries for the light is nice and hidden under the base. And if you want to get more creative, you can do something like that. It's all up to you. So the jigs that we made, we're going to have video out in a couple days on that. If this is the future, we'll link to it. If not, then just wait a couple days and you'll be able to see them. Okay, so the little piece, you saw me cut it by taping on the longer piece or whatever. I wanted to play with that. I kind of was standing in front of it. I think if I was to do it again, I would put it like this. That way, if anything did fly out, it wouldn't be able to hit me. My fingers are well out of there. But I could have just simply used this push block, because as you can see, it's not touching the blade, and then save. So it's just clearing, but it's good enough. And I could also, if you have another push block, I wouldn't use one of these unless you have to, but even this would have worked just fine. Well, except there you go, I pushed on it. So you can just push that through there. But make sure you keep it in the center, because if you push it off to the side like I just did there, you might end up hitting the blade. So not a big fan of this method, but anyway, just wanted to try something different. You guys tell me what you think in the comments. All right, so we're going to link to a previous Christmas tree that we did up there, and we're going to link to these down there. If you're not there yet, check back in a couple days.